the average lifespan for Fortune 500 used to be 75 years. Now it's down to 16 years, forecasted to be about 14 years. The next 10 years, they're forecasting 50% of Fortune 500 companies today will be disrupted. In an environment like this, would you want to be doing all of the IT technologies on your own? Or would you want to standardize a lot of these platforms and start to depend on vendors who are pioneers and world leaders in certain domain areas? As an example, when it comes to data protection, Veritas is #1 in the world. 99 of Fortune 100 depend on Veritas for their enterprise data.
CIOs and CXOs are going through quite a bit of complexity in terms of IT infrastructure itself. There are quite a few new choices available. Many of the CIOs and CXOs are on the journey to cloud, are on the journey to adopt hyper-converged architectures. They have multiple databases to deal with today, multiple operating systems to deal with, a choice of hypervisors available in the market. But the challenge is the ability to keep data consistently protected across all these choices and have that access to data from a unified console is a huge challenge, given that each one of these environments are different. This makes abstraction extremely important, where you need a vendor like Veritas to come in and put that layer of abstraction where, irrespective of the complexity that they have in the environment and the hybrid nature of the environment, we still have the ability to provide that protection to data and also give them a choice to use the data for multiple different purposes. So this is where Veritas comes in extremely handy with its abstraction layer.
Number one, you got to have visibility. You want to know where your data resides, whether it's on-prem, whether it's in the cloud, and what type of data do you actually have. You have to classify the data and then make a determination. Do you want to save that data? Do you want to delete that data? Do you want to protect that data? If you decide to protect it, how long do you want to retain it? So there is an element of, is it 7-year retention based on different compliance, depending on the country that you belong to. Sometimes saving something for too long is actually going against compliance. For instance, some of the compliance will allow you to keep data for 7 years, and in the best of spirits, you might say, I want to retain it for 8 or 9 years. In reality, that is actually against the compliance law. You have to delete the data after 7 years. So having a strategy which is end-to-end starts from gaining visibility of all types of data, classification of data, making sure it's protected, making sure it's compliant, and you're adhering to all the local laws is super important. Veritas allows you to do that in a very nice, simple graphical format where you can actually see where your data is residing on-prem or cloud. Take actions when you identify the data after classification. You can hit one button and it deletes the data or helps you retain the data. It's really important that you have very solid secondary storage, which is ransomware is protected in that way. If indeed you do get hit by a ransomware, you can actually retrieve all of that data very quickly and get your enterprise back in motion.
Most CIOs today are grappling with data growth, and at the same time most CIOs also are challenged by the fact that they do not have a great deal of visibility into the data they have. So first things first, knowing the data that you have is extremely important. Just to give you an example, if you are able to tell a CIO or CXO that for 8 or 9 years this data is untouched, what would he do? The first thing he would say is, do I need the data? So this is a business and CIO conversation together, where IT points out to the business and asks them if this data is required or not required, and the ability to either move that data to cheaper systems where there is lower SLAs, or the ability to delete that data is extremely crucial so that they are able to maintain efficient systems. This is one of the examples of visibility that we bring into the environment. There are a lot of multiple benefits that you can get out of this, including tiering the needs into critical data, non-critical data, data that you may still need to keep for compliance reasons, etc. And the options of how do you keep it post that do emerge once you do this. And one of the good options to keep the data long term is also in the cloud. So we do provide our customers a choice whether to keep the data on-prem or move it to the cloud, All these are possibilities once you have a visibility into that data. So Veritas does enable the customer's journey in not only providing the visibility, but also in terms of storing this data and, more importantly, retrieving it for future needs in a foolproof fashion with the choices they want to make on-prem or off-prem.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.